Hey everyone, Professor Hank here. So today we're going to talk about working with characters and string objects. And the big idea here is that we've got some special functions that we can use that'll help us to work with characters and strings. Now, even though it's possible for us to use cin with the string extraction operator when we're working with strings, it can cause problems that you have to be aware of. So when cin is reading input, it ignores all of the leading white space characters. Now, what's white space? Spaces, tabs, or new line characters. Now, when it comes to the first non-white space character and starts reading, it's going to stop reading as soon as it gets to the next white space character. Now, this is potentially a big problem, and we'll see an example of it here. So let's go ahead and include string, and then we'll create a couple string variables here. We'll say name and say school. And then we'll prompt the user, we'll say, enter your full name. And then we'll read that in. And then we'll say, enter your school's name. And then we'll read that in. And then we'll just tell the user, what they entered. Your name is, and then we'll do name. And then we'll do, your school is. Your school is, and then school. All right. Now, see what happens when we compile and run this and try to enter in the information. You're going to see this problem that we're talking about here. So, okay, enter your full name. So let's say that your name is John Smith. All right, everything is like, wait, what? Enter your full name, John Smith. Why? Wait, hold on. Why does it say your name is John, your school is Smith? I didn't even enter my school name yet. I didn't get a chance. Wait, what? So this is the problem here. So what we're going to do to address this is we're going to use a special function named getline. And getline will read everything, whether it's the leading white space or white space between words. It's going to read it all, and it's going to store everything in the string object. So what we'll do, we'll fix this, and we'll use getline instead. So there's two things that you put inside these parentheses here. One is cin, because this is where you're getting stuff from. And then the other is where you want it to go. So we want it to go to name from cin, from the keyboard into the name variable. And we'll do a similar thing with the school name. Okay, so now when we do this and we run it, things are going to work just fine. It's going to work as expected. So now I can type in, the name John Smith. All right, now we got my second prompt, right? And then I can put the school name in, Diablo Valley College. And then you can see that we get our output as expected. So we fix that little issue that comes up. Okay, so the next thing we want to talk about is inputting a single character, right? So sometimes you only want to have one character. So you might have a program that's going to be menu driven. And so you might have options like A, B, C, for example. So if you want to read in a single character, well, you can create a character variable and you can say something like enter a character. And from there, you can use cin to read that character in, and then you can display the character. You can say you entered this character, and it's gonna work just fine for you, but not in every single situation, depending on what it is that you want to read. Okay, so for example, if I wanted to type in 5, I can do that, right? That's one character. Or if I wanted to type in, G, that's another character. No problem whatsoever. Now, an alternative to using cin like this is using, in the string extraction operator, is to use cin.get. cin.get, because this cin right here, it's limited in what it can read. It can't read white space because of problems that we talked about before. So instead of doing this, what we can do is we can say cin.get, and then inside the parentheses we'll put the character we want to read. Okay, and so when we do that, we can now read in whatever. Okay, so that includes a space, and then let's say that I did that, and then I just show you put things in between angle brackets in the output. It's a little bit easier to see what I'm talking about, right? So if I put in that exclamation point, you see the exclamation points there, but now I can read in white space as well. So I hit the space bar once, and then you can see there's the space. Now that's one way that you can use cin.get, but you can also use it like this. You could also say c equals cin.get with nothing in the parentheses at all. So that's an alternative. So you can use cin.get and pass as an argument inside these parentheses here the name of the variable that you want to store the data in, or you can do it like this. Okay, but there's another way you can use cin.get, and that is to pause your program. So, if we call cin.get by itself, it's still going to wait for the user to enter a character, but we're not going to store that character because we don't need it if all we're doing is pausing the program. So let's say, this is a pause. Okay, and maybe we want to pause the program 2 more times. So we'll just repeat this code a couple more times. So what's going to happen is that we'll see the output of the program, and then, this is a pause, and then cin.get will be waiting for the user to hit anything. And they could hit anything. So that includes reading white space. So an enter, if they just hit an enter, that'll work just fine. So let's see this here. Right, so this is a pause. So right now the cursor, it's waiting at line 11. So if I hit enter, cin.get just eats it up immediately, right? And so now we're at the second pause, right? We printed that out, and now we're waiting at cin.get here. So I hit enter again, and then we see this third prompt telling us that this is a pause, third piece of output, and then now we're waiting at cin.get one more time, right? And then I hit enter. And you can see down here we've got cin.get again, which is keeping it open yet again. More on this again in a second. Now, the potential problem with this comes when you're mixing cin.get and cin with the stream extraction operator. So when you start mixing cin and cin.get, you get some weird problems that crop up that are confusing. If you don't know about this, it's very, very confusing. So let us say that I just wanted the user to, enter a number. So we'll do cin.x, and we'll say cout, enter a number, and then we'll do cin.x, and then we'll do something like, enter a character, right? So we'll do another character here. We'll say cout, enter a character. And then we do cin.get c, and then we're going to try to tell the user what they entered. You entered, and then the x, and then the c. Okay, now you're going to see a problem here, and I'll explain it. So we're going to get our first prompt, enter a number, and then let's say do 33, and then enter. So we get a similar problem like we had with the string earlier. So enter a character. I never got a chance to enter my character, and then so why did this happen? The reason this happened was because when we typed in 33, what happened was that the 33 went into a location called the keyboard input buffer. When you type in 33, you've got that, the 3 and the 3, but then you hit enter, didn't you? When we hit enter, the new line character is also placed into the keyboard buffer. You've got this piece of white space, which is the new line character. So cin in the stream extraction operator reads the 33, takes that out of the buffer, puts it into X, and then the program advances on to this cin.get right here. Well, as we just demonstrated, cin.get will read new line characters. And so it automatically, without you doing anything, gobbled up that remaining or that leftover new line character in the keyboard buffer, and then the program continued right along. So how are we going to fix that? Well, we're going to use cin.ignore. So what cin.ignore does is it just ignores, if we do this, cin.ignore, this will ignore that new line character. It'll ignore the very next character in the keyboard buffer. So now when we type 33 and then enter, then the cin.x is going to extract the 33. Cin.ignore is going to pass over the new line character here, essentially emptying out our keyboard buffer. And so then cin.get's got nothing to read, and then it's going to wait for us to type something in response. So let us check that out. So enter number 33. Now hit the enter, and everything just proceeded as I explained. The cin with the stream extraction operator ripped out the 33 from the keyboard buffer, put it into X, cin.ignore, skipped over the new line character, and now cin.get is waiting for me to type something in response. So I'll type G, and so then that got read as well. And so then our output from line 21 is processed correctly. Now that's the default behavior of cin.ignore, but it can also take arguments. By default, it'll just skip over the next character, and doesn't matter which character is. But we can put, say, a number in here, say 30, and then we can put as a second argument another character. So what this does is this says skip the next 30 characters until you see the new line character, whichever comes first. So this can also be a problem when you're working with strings too. So let's say that you're going to enter in a number just like before, and instead of entering a character this time, we're going to enter in your name. We'll do getline cin name, and then we'll print out the number and then your name. So I took the cin.ignore out, so that new line character is going to be left over in the keyboard buffer. So new line character in keyboard buffer. So we'll go ahead and run it. You'll see that when I type the 33 and hit the enter, we had that same problem. Why? Because the new line character was left over the keyboard buffer, and the getline function went ahead and swallowed it right up and proceeded with the program after that. So to fix that, we'll use the same cin.ignore function as we did before. And then when we compile and run this, you're going to see that it works just fine. So we'll do Hank. So now you can see that the output works just fine. So the last thing we'll look at is a couple of things you can do with string objects. So we can initialize a string just like we can other types of variables. So we could do something like this. We could say John Smith. And then if we display the contents of the name, it's going to work just fine. So let's see that. Okay, but we can also use what's known as a member function that belongs to the string data type. So string variables, they're smarter than primitive variables. They actually have instructions you can give them to give you additional information. One of those things is the length function. So you can do something like this. You can say, well, the name is this, and it has this many characters. So if we use the length function, we can say name.length. Okay, and that will calculate how many characters are actually in the string that we assigned to the name variable, and then display that on the screen for us, right? Because name.length is going to return that value. So there's 10 characters in the name John Smith, and we can double check that easily enough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now there's also certain operators that you can use with string variables. You can use addition, for example. So let's say that we had string name, and then we had string last, and we did Smith. So then we could do cout name plus last and add those things together. And so what that does is that does concatenation. That's just joining two strings together. So you're going to see that we've got John Smith. Now, why is there no space in there? Because I didn't include a space in there. If I wanted a space, then I could just hit that little space right there. And then you'd see that we've got the two strings, John, and then the string space Smith. So that's one thing we can do. Another thing we can do is we can use the combined assignment operator. We can do name plus equals last. And then when we do that, that's going to replace the contents of name, which is John, with John Smith. So you'll see that when we display the output. So you're going to see that it says John Smith. Now why? Well, remember what combined assignment means. Name plus equals last is the same thing as name equals name plus last. It's the same statement. It's just a shorthand way of doing it. Okay, so now you've learned how to read entire strings and single characters safely and how to deal with potential problems that can crop up, as well as how to do concatenation with strings and how to find out their length by using the length function. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.